Hey guys, have you viewed many interesting short news videos with similar content bubbling over on different social media platforms like the Weibo, WeChat, TikTok, or even on official media apps? Recently, I have seen many kinds of news videos that depicting a teenager who was dancing to show his or her appreciation to the volunteers and the medical staff. But I wonder whether it is the real news that such particular public attention should be paid to. Then I gradually realized that there might be something that manipulates media content, and it reminded me of a critical concept in journalism study called pseudo-events.
So, what are pseudo-events? There are usually two events covered in the news. One is event that happens spontaneously, and the other is what Daniel Boorstin called pseudo-events. Firstly, spontaneous events are events that happen by themselves, things like disaster or accidents, or to say they are natural and essential enough that the news will cover. However, pseudo-events are the opposite. It is an event that does not happen spontaneously. Instead, it has been planted, or incited by an interested party. In Boorstin's view, pseudo-events are events that are manipulated by a certain interested party for the purpose of catching media attention or publicity. What should be noticed is that pseudo-events are not fake news as they have truly happened. For example, there might be a tech company that wants more business, so they hire a PR firm that tells them to set up launch events. They invite celebrities, plan the event, and hire photographers and journalists to report on it. It is not a spontaneous event that would all happen on its own and naturally gain coverage. In other words, the power to make an event reportable is really based on the power to make an experience. Why are pseudo-events becoming a bigger part of news coverage? Go back in history, before the emergence of online media, people didn't expect exciting news every single day. It was okay if the news was boring or nothing may have happened that was noteworthy. However, nowadays we are in the era of information explosion. Media audiences expect sensational news daily or even hourly to view on the internet. And the journalist is expected to find a story where there is no story. I will now take an exciting web game, We Become What We Behold, as an example to show the logic of news production on social media. The game is basically about news circles. The player captures news, controlling what the circles and squares see on the screen and having a sway over how they think and act. There is increased demands for illusion, which has resulted in a change in how the news is delivered and what we expect from the news. The news is now a business, and if we didn't create and implement pseudo-events, thousands would be out of work. Media industries are on the hookup to this point, being induced to replicate the production logic in the competitive market. Events makers take advantage of embedding news values in artificial events to grab attention and gain coverage. In this sense, pseudo-events are constructed with self-interest and intention. In a less critical sense, pseudo-events can also serve to concentrate the distribution of certain information, often following spontaneous news events such as a press conference after a major accident. For example, we are currently most often exposed to press conference of pandemic reports. Those conferences clearly man-made compared to the outbreak of pandemic. They have a specific agenda that the media are invited to participate in the efficient production of mass communication. The immediate reason for planning events such as conferences and presentations is to create and report on them. In fact, this type of news coverage on a certain extent is useful for us to get the information we need or to understand a social event in a focused way, and it is also intended to serve the media to facilitate attracting viewers to watch. Here it is perfectly understandable that the distribution of news production is an inevitable phenomenon, efficient.
For either media producers or audiences, pseudo-events merit attention. Although some pseudo-events in news are under the banner of people's livelihood, their content is often not focused on public life, but rather on crowding the public platform to achieve the producer's self-promotion. Audience participation activities have become sales activity for the media to accumulate audience loyalty, so media gradually lose their initial role. Also, the pseudo-events may affect people's perception of reality, of what actually is important and what is not. Additionally, pseudo-events in the long term not only occupy scarce media resources and audience attention, but also permit media professionals to fail to discuss more socially important issues. Moreover, they also corrupt the audience appetite, making them prefer sensational and interesting reports while ignoring profound discussion on serious social problems.